The Ontario Liberals and NDP are taking aim at the Ford government today. It's been a week since the Auditor General's report was released. It found the province's process for choosing which protected Greenbelt lands were opened up for development was biased. Matt Ingram is following developments out of Queen's Park today and joins us live with more. Good evening, Matt.
Good evening, Taz. The Liberals held a press conference today questioning why no one from the Ford government has been fired over this issue, while the NDP asking the Integrity Commissioner to expand its probe into the Greenbelt to include Ford's use of his personal cell phone.
This isn't going away. This is just the beginning.
Holding a press conference to mark 1 week since that damning Auditor General report, Interim Liberal leader John Fraser says the Ford government needs to be held accountable.
There is mounting evidence that something happened here that broke the public trust. And that should be of interest to the OPP, could be of interest to the RCMP.
NDP leader Marit Stiles also on the offensive against Ford today regarding a report from Global News saying he didn't use his government-issued cell phone during a week in November. In a letter to the Integrity Commissioner today, she writes the report is raising concerns that he is using a personal phone intentionally to avoid accountability through the Freedom of Information process, and she requests the IG look into it. She also references last week's AG report, which found staff in the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing were using personal email accounts for government business and regularly deleting emails. These facts demonstrate the government's pervasive disregard for transparency and proper record-keeping practices.
What we are trying to do on behalf of Ontarians is make this government be accountable.
Asked about the Premier's personal cell phone, Ford's office told CHCH News, "We comply with all rules and regulations as set out in the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act."
So it's very important that they protect these records, and it appears that an awful lot of records in this case were not protected.
Political analyst and former Queen's Park correspondent Keith Leslie says deleting records have proved costly for former provincial governments.
Dalton McGuinty, the former Premier's chief of staff, went to jail for 4 months because of wiping government hard drives of information.
And Leslie says don't expect the opposition to let go of the AG's report.
This is serious PR trouble for the Ford government, and whether they can come back from it without at least revisiting this decision to reopen these lands, I don't think it's possible. They have to go back to that 15th recommendation and actually follow it.
That 15th recommendation calls for the government to revisit its decision to open up these lands for development in the Greenbelt. It's the only one of the AG's recommendations that the government says it will not follow. Now, we asked the Premier's office for a response to John Fraser's suggestion that the OPP and the RCMP should be concerned by what he calls a breach of the public trust, and we've yet to hear back.